daily. What's up, Skakala? How you doing? Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. You're the first one and liking the hell out of the chat, which is nice. Thank you. Let's see. Get a few people here. Jeanette, the chosen one. Oh, my hair is insane today. What's up, Amif? Good to see you on YouTube. I see a bunch of people are coming on TikTok. That's great. What's up, Morgan? Kylie. Oh, also, let's see. Let's see if we got all the information here. Today's chat. Wait, what is that? Hello, everyone. So today's chat is going to be what? Oh, there you go. Now I think we're back to business. There we go. Heard the part 1 today in your recent interview with Emily Moyer. Looking forward part 2. Oh, cool. I didn't know she released it. That's awesome. Oh, you mean the previous one? Because we recorded another one a few days ago. I'm not sure if she released that one. What's up, Cal? How you doing, man? Thank you for the donation on GoFundMe. I appreciate it. Today my hair does not want to cooperate. Thank you so much. There was also, who else donated from the chat, I think? David? I'm not sure if David is here, but thank you. Thank you, Cal. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll release the official GoFundMe campaign soon on her Patreon, the one from a web day ago. Yeah, so she released it. Thank you, MEF. Thank you for letting me know. Thanks, Cal. Yeah, we're excited. There's a lot of really cool things coming up, and we believe we will deliver. And I'm also very, we're kind of going with the flow with the project. So we believe it will, arrange itself, so to speak. But I'm trying my best to frame the whole thing in a way that also makes people, that empowers people and doesn't just shake the system. Because just shaking the system feels like it would be the wrong way to go. It's important, but I feel like framing it in a proper way is very important as well. Jerusalem of Gold, Eric Smith, Eagle One. Are these all people that just like basically rotating? Not really sure. Well, hello everyone. To all the newcomers, this chat is usually a daily chat revolving around the simulation hypothesis. We meet here daily. God bless the state of Israel, Jerusalem of Gold said. All right. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about science, talk about philosophy, religion, spirituality, and whatnot. Today, the chat is probably going to be about an hour, no more than that. Then I have to go and take care of a few things. Yesterday, somebody, forget who it was, but wanted me to look up a couple of things. I told you guys that you can throw in subjects and I can look into them, and then if they're interesting, we can discuss them. So somebody put in Loreto staircase. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but essentially it's a staircase in a church in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, I believe. And apparently nobody really knows who actually built the staircase in the church. but it's some kind of a staircase that was not supposed to be possible for the time when it was built, which was in 1880 something or something like that. What's up, the business? How you doing, man? If you want to come up, just let me know and I'll definitely pull you up. So the same goes for everybody else. Cal, once again, thank you so much for the donation on the GoFundMe. If you guys don't know, we're working on a documentary. What's up, the business? On about the laser project, and we're gonna launch a GoFundMe campaign soon. I mean, it's launched, but we don't. It's not really officially out yet. So, um, when it's going to be official, we're going to release. We're working on a few teasers. It. Oh hell yeah! All right, hold on. There we go. So, anyways, I looked up. What's up, brother?
Hey, yo.
How are you?
Doing well.
I'm glad to hear that.
Came in on a staircase comment.
The staircase comment.
Yeah.
Do you know about it?
No, all I heard you say was staircase, and you said New Mexico?
Oh yeah. So I was saying that I want people to give me subjects to kind of look into if you want me to talk about something specific. So somebody yesterday suggested two topics. One of them was the Loreto staircase, and I knew nothing about that. But apparently, it's some kind of a staircase in a church that was built in 18 something, and it was they basically needed to solve some kind of a problem with the. They said that because of the way that the church is constructed, you can't really build anything there. You have to put basically a ladder, which was a problem, obviously, because people, it was like a hazard to basically climb there. And then they prayed St. Thomas, I think. They prayed to somebody, and I think maybe St. Thomas. And then somebody showed up one day and basically told them, "Hey, I'm here to build the thing, but I'm gonna work by myself, and I don't want anyone here." Um, and then he basically built this impossible staircase, like a double helix staircase that just stands there since. And apparently, there's some controversy because even modern woodworkers and physicists can't really figure out how he did that. Anyways, not sure what I make of it. I don't know if it's like such a big subject for me, to go too deeply into. Um, I mean, I get it. There's some things that are just kind of like unexplainable for the time, but I don't see the big. I guess maybe you have to be there to understand the gravity of the thing. Not sure. So if the person who wanted that yesterday, if they wanna, if they're here, if they want to come up and talk about it more, by all means. But I didn't find it that interesting, to be honest.
So
And
it's the way it's like floating there, the way it is, I guess.
yeah, but McKenna's time wave zero on to something or makes no sense. I've seen the staircase. Oh, Debbie said she's seen the staircase. So can you tell us, Debbie, why the staircase is so unique if you saw it in person? I mean, I saw it on YouTube, right? So it's basically just a floating staircase, which technically in the 1800s they didn't really know how to do that. And there's no, oh right, there's no nails, there's no nothing, there's no glue. It's just like kind of like it just fits. It just sits in a spiral like that, right? Can you tell us why it stands out? Did you climb the staircase, Debbie? Do they let you climb the staircase? Yeah, if you guys Google or YouTube the Loreto staircase, you'll see it. I guess it's always funny to me that there's like this one tiny thing somewhere in the world, and it's like this big conundrum sometimes. It's just a staircase, but hey, what do I know? I haven't been there. Maybe it is insane.
I thought I was about to see like a Penrose staircase in real life or something.
Oh, that would be insane. I see a Penrose staircase in real life. That would be a trip.
It's almost like what McKenna said. Like if there was any way at all to bring an artifact back from that space, it would like completely change everything, you know?
Oh yeah, to bring that one object. I actually, I probably you can construct the Penrose staircase. Well, the Escher staircase, basically. The Escher Penrose just basically made it more elaborate. Him and his dad, but basically the Escher staircase. And
Right.
to anybody who doesn't know, it's a staircase that the way it's drawn, it basically looks like it goes on forever because it keeps climbing up. And every time you get to the other side, it looks like you keep going up, right? So now you can probably construct this now with some technology. Like you can basically make it move in a way that you don't feel that it's moving, and then you just keep climbing up, basically. Oh, it's kind of like, you put it around a big enough of a circular central column, and then it's like, it's like the steps in the gym, and you just keep going up, and it just keeps climbing, basically. That would be a trip. It's like escalators that keep bringing you up this way. Kel is suggesting McKenna's Time Wave Zero to talk about. I don't know. That would be interesting to dive deeper. I actually wanted to download the code that does that and to see if we can match some things. People obviously, the rumor goes that Terrence changed the dates a couple of times just to make it match with whatever the Mayans predicted, 2012 and all that stuff. But I'm not really sure he was wrong, to be honest with you. Maybe something did change in 2012 and we just don't know it, right? The Higgs boson was discovered that year. Maybe we entered some kind of a new timeline that year. A lot of weird stuff started happening right after. So I'm not really sure he was wrong or the Mayans were wrong.
Have you heard of Project Looking Glass?
It sounds kind of familiar, but enlighten me.
So it's a theory about a project that like the government had or something like that, to where they could see into the future. It's like, so if you know that this is going to happen in the future, you put this certain stimuli into the present time at the moment to make certain outcomes take place. And like they had it for, I don't know if it was decades or just a few years, but something like story goes that after 2012, like everything collapsed into a like master timeline to no matter what stimuli they put into the present timeline now, they can't affect it anymore.
Huh. So what is the current thing on it? Basically, you're like outside of the ability for it to be influenced.
Right. It's almost like whatever, like, I don't know too much. I mean, I've never had access to the technology to see what happens in the future, but apparently the people who do have the technology, there's a few YouTube interviews online of like military people that were supposedly a part of it. It's all just theory and hearsay.
Well, obviously, yeah.
But for just like relating that back to the year 2012, for some reason, the way how so many people felt like that year was like very significant in all different type of theories.
So what do you think of Cal's comment just now, which is if the many worlds is true, it kind of makes this whole thing useless? What do you think?
Useless if many worlds theory is correct. So like multiverse theory?
Yeah, like if the multiverse is true, then it's irrelevant, basically.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's just a bigger expansion. It's just like the fractal of everything, It's like if you can somehow get outside of our like prime universe and go into different ones, yeah, it would be irrelevant because you'd be in a bigger chunk of reality by doing that. Yeah, and actually, there's some real evidence to support that now, both from a computational standpoint and from a practical standpoint. So basically, Stephen Wolfram's work seems to be indicating that there is this multi-way graph that actually describes the world that we are in, and then our universe is just somewhere there. And then they managed to derive, quantum physics, string theory, like everything. So it looks pretty promising. Tried to download Time Wave Zero program code, but couldn't find it. Cal's, yeah. So we're going to be jumping in between subjects. That's fine. As for the Time Wave Zero, I'm pretty sure it should be pretty easy to find on the, what is it called? It's the big website where you download all the codes. What is it called? You know what I'm talking about? Where you download all the codes.
Yeah, it's like the big. It's like super known. I don't know why I'm spacing on the name of it right now. GitHub. There you go. Thank you.
GitHub.
Yeah. You couldn't find it on GitHub? That's strange. I would imagine it would be right there. But yeah, so
Fractal-timewave.com, I think, looks like it has the calculator on there.
Say it again. What is it called?
Fractal-timewave.com.
Fractal-timewave.com. Try that one, Cal. Also, I saw your comment, Cal, about trying to look for the code. If you can't, feel free to email me and we can talk specifics, and I can help you figure it out. The water really helps. I don't know if you tried it with a glass of water, but lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Best address to email me and we can talk about it directly. I can help you out. Also, somebody on YouTube is asking, MEF is asking, am I familiar with the work of Veda Austin, molecular collective crystallography? Freezing water in a partial petri dish after exposing it to an influence of a new image. So basically what you do is, I actually tried this. It didn't work for me, but I wouldn't put it, like they show some examples. It's pretty wild. So basically anybody can try this. The experiment is you got to have a pretty flat petri dish, and then you put some water in it, and then you put it on top of some kind of an image. So let's say, that's the bottom of the petri dish right here. You can put it on top of, I don't know, some item, right? Or just basically hold it there for a certain period of time. I think it's like 2 minutes or something. And then you freeze it partially. And when it starts crystallizing, it should have basically the water kind of remembered what they were on, and it should create some kind of a image that resembles what you put it on. I tried it, but I tried it only with a mason jar, I'll be honest, not with so I didn't do the proper way. But they show some examples on the website. If the examples are real, which it looks like the website looks pretty legit. So if the examples are real, it's kind of wild. But yeah, so I tried it. I mean, if it's, anybody can try this. I don't know if you had the chance, but actually that would be a good one. That would be a good one to try. Let's see.
Yeah, with McKenna's Timewave Zero, the whole thing was increasing novelty until it was just, crazy novelty once a year, and then every 6 months, and then every month, and then every week, then every day. It seems like we're getting so close to that point, to where it's just amazing discovery after amazing discovery.
Yeah, it's what's his name? Something Anton, forget his name. Anyways, he called it these units Jesus. 1 Jesus, 2 Jesus. And right now we're at like 50 Jesus or something. I don't know. But the Timewave Zero wasn't necessarily like crescendoing as far as novelty. Is that it was just measuring the level of novelty in any point in time. And yeah, he said that basically the novelty is supposed to, like in 2012, it's supposed to go up to like an infinite level, and then you can no longer predict things, almost like entering some kind of a new time thing. Well, again, maybe we cross the event horizon and we don't even know, right? Maybe we're in it, maybe the time split, and then we just don't really know. And again, like I told everybody, I'm putting my bets for next year. Like 2025 is the year where we're going to see some radical change, which will be exactly what 2012. So it's going to be 13 years, right? I don't know if that's significant, but maybe it was just off by 13 years. 2025 seems to be the year. One wild moment that I once had with a friend of mine, we actually made a bet about Kurzweil's idea of the singularity, which was supposed to be like, I don't know, 2039, 2042, which is directly related to what you just said, the business. It's when the predictive power becomes useless because the rate of change is so enormous every second. And we made a bet. It was like, he was like, I bet you nothing will happen. I'm like, no, I bet you it will happen in that year. So I don't remember what year it was. We looked it up. And then we wanted to put like a reminder on the calendar on an iPhone to remind us to check, so we can, one has to pay the other, whomever was right. And then we put the reminder in that year. I don't remember if it was 39 or 42, whatever. Probably let's go with 2042 because it's symbolic, right? So let's say it was 2042. We put it on the date, exactly that many years and that month and that date. And then we went and checked. I don't remember why we checked, but then we checked and it wasn't there. like it disappeared. And I was like, what? That's weird. And maybe there was a glitch. And then we put it again, and again it disappeared. And I was like, what is that? And then he tried it on his phone, and it also disappeared. And I'm like, what? And then we kind of went down the years, because we were like, okay, maybe the iPhone is just like, there's something about the software that's just like not registering that far ahead. I don't know. So we kept on going back, and I remember anything beyond the year 2025, you couldn't put it on your calendar. That was like in 2015, no, 17 or something like that. And we couldn't put anything beyond 2025. And it's like, it's just disappeared. I think they like now it would work, but it was very clear that that was happening. We are like, that is so weird. So that was just another kind of hint that told me that 2025 is going to be very significant.
Yeah, so many synchronicities happening. I mean, I'm having synchronicities happen like multiple times a day. I just when I think about like time waves collapsing and getting into all these increased novelties, it's just, those examples of like you're like reading something in a book and then like they say it on TV, or you think of the color, there's red, and then the next thing you look at is red, but like increasingly happening daily now. Like it used to happen like, every now and then, but multiple times a week. So I'm like, are these like indications that we are like reaching this like 0 point moment?
Basically, I think. So somebody's making some comments on YouTube about the code, that it's not very likely that people inside the simulation will see the code. Yeah, Heelin, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but it's a good question. I don't know why. I just know that that's the case. I wish I would know why, but we can see it clearly.
And speaking of not seeing the code, yeah, Kel is right about fractaltimewave.com not having the software available on there anymore. So yeah, I would like. I've heard about that for decades, but I've never actually had it downloaded before.
Yeah, it would be fun to play with it, because now it's like relatively easy, right? But again, I did hear that Terrence got a little carried away there, and he started changing dates when he saw that it wasn't matching exactly the Mayan calendar. So he started changing things to make it look more, like it was appropriate. And it's interesting because basically, one time when I spoke to Rob on his channel, Adaptus, and he told me, like, do you think that there's a chance you kind of suffering from a little bit of a McKenna syndrome there? Like, you think that this is your time wave zero kind of thing? I'm like, well, no, because you have a bunch of people seeing it. It's not like the same thing as like theoretical thing, right? So it's like you have people seeing it. But also it made me think that, that whole space of the molecules, it's filled with this feeling that something is afoot. It's full with this, like, it's almost like it's charged with that energy of discovery, right? So it's very, I feel like that is the driver that is supposed to help navigate us towards some kind of understandings inside that space, but it's just very difficult to translate them into something that is tangible and it's actually doing something. So I feel like when Terrence worked with Time Wave Zero, he worked with a mathematician to develop it. He constantly was engaging with going into the space and then speaking about it, and then he would tell the mathematician, like, he would have to translate what he's seeing, and then from there they the idea was born to take the I Ching and then try and somehow transform it into some kind of a cyclical system that will measure this time wave. And I can't help thinking that there must be, like, for example, the laser is just one thing, and there must be many, many other things like this that we can probably pull from the space, that we just have to, put our heads together and then think about it. And I think this is just the first of many things that we can probably bring to fruition and make it work. But I wonder what that would be. Pretty sure that sound is involved. By the way, to all the newcomers, I'm just going to repeat it one more time. This channel usually revolves the simulation hypothesis, but we talk about all kinds of things. Talk about physics, talk about spirituality, religion, philosophy, whatever comes to mind. And but Time Wave Zero, you know what? I'm going to try and find the code. I'm going to see if we can actually You know that one of the thing that got me into the molecule originally was it was a Joe Rogan rant on some old radio show.
Oh, same.
You know what I'm talking about? Where he was like
Oh, yeah,
Ohio, something Ohio, right? And then I found Terrence McKenna and I started listening to Terrence. I was like, what is that? And actually, Terrence's stuff originally it was about the Time Wave Zero that I saw, and I also heard him talk about the whole thing with like culture is not your friend. Those were the first things that I've heard by Terrence, and now it's funny because now I find myself, you know, like I don't think that I would even agree with Terrence politically, and I would probably disagree with Terrence on a lot of things, but he was just such a genius. It's just unbelievable it's this is why I'm so interested in because I was writing a movie, well, technically still writing a movie about him, and now I got a suggestion by the same guy that is doing the documentary about my thing. He's like, why don't we just also make a documentary about him? Because there is one documentary about him, but it's not good. I mean, it's whatever. It's basically like a montage of a bunch of clips. Like it's not really a documentary, and I'm kind of blown away by that because Terence McKenna was such a monumental mind in the history of humanity, and it will be a big disservice to everybody if most people don't know who he was, especially because now it's going to become super relevant with the whole renaissance of these molecules. I need to you came from I Ching. Oh yeah, the I Ching is where it came from. Sounds like you're seeing those machines Terence McKenna talked about, except Terence Wax Able. I actually don't seem like I've never seen machine elves, by the way. Just funk worm. I've never once seen machine elves, nor did I see self-dribbling jeweled basketballs. Yeah, Terrence is.
Well, those were the first things I saw 15 years ago. Was the
You-
machine elves? Like I
you've
said,
seen
it was
them?
Like a group of 5 of them that came up to me. And that was
Interesting.
like the first couple of minutes I was in there, and I was like, "Whoa, where the hell am I?"
That is so. What did they do? Like what was their behavior?
Well, it was like the first. It was almost like the first one I saw had his back turned to me, and then as it noticed that I was like in that space, it like turned around, and like as it turned around, 2 or 3 on each side of them appeared, and they're like, "Oh wow, he's back!" And they're like, "Oh, welcome back." And I was like, "Whoa, where am I welcome back to?" They're like, "Hurry up, we don't have much time." And then they started spinning the geometrical shape patterns or whatever, and then they would like give it to me, like as I'm sitting there on the couch, like I could almost, it's like feel my mental arms reach out and take it, and then as soon as I looked at this like geometric impossible shape, it's that sensation of where you feel like you've got like a 3,000 petabytes of information go through you all at once. I'm like, to where you can't pinpoint what kind of knowledge or truth you're being given, but you know that that's what it is. And then as soon as that happened, I went through like another wormhole, and then through a space for felt like thousands of feet corkscrewing through a wormhole, and then I went into the dome space, where the dome type area is. And so, yeah, my first introduction to it was meeting the machine elves within the first like 2 or 3 minutes, and only for probably less than 30 seconds. But yeah, that's the
Interesting. And do you feel so? And this is a good question that Cal is asking. Why people see different things. It's interesting. I do. It's like, for example, I have a friend. She's an artist in that space. She does all kinds of molecule-induced art. She actually recently did a show with Alex Gray. She's incredible. Juliana Garces. You can follow her on Instagram. She's amazing. And so she told me that the theme she always sees in the molecule space is like folklore. So like the elves and things like that, fairies, and I've never seen that. So it is interesting how it paints itself for different people in different ways, and maybe it connects to either how the molecule thinks our psychology can perceive it the best, Or maybe it has to do with where you're located, like actual coordinates wise in the mind space. If you're closer to like concepts that have to do with technology, that's how it's going to come across, and so on and so forth. I think that that would be a safe assumption to make, especially if the mind space is real, right? Then you have like different concepts that you're floating around, so to speak. Um, and
Oh, that
then
brings up a question. So with your laser discovery, was that something that they told you to do in that space, or something you just thought to try out and see what happened?
well, I started having experiences that were extremely realistic, like more realistic than the regular molecule space, even more than that, right?
Even more real than that.
Oh yeah, yeah, it just became like real life, like full on. And I was like, what? As I was like, there's no way this is in my brain. This cannot just be in my brain. There's no way. And then I became obsessed with answering that question. I was like, well, listen, if this is real, so I don't know if it is real or not, but if it is real, there has to be a way to establish that. There has to be. Because if it's real, it's influencing us somehow. It has to do with the visual field. So light must be involved in some form. And I started kind of going down that rabbit hole. And years down the line, all of a sudden hints started appearing. And this is what the documentary basically following, which is the story, and then we're gonna have interviews, and we're gonna have but a lot of it is a reenactment of the story of what happened, how I came to that conclusion. And basically they kind of started putting clues, not in the space, but when I was outside of the molecule space. Just like when I was thinking about the right thing, they would put like some kind of a clue that was very concrete. Like it wasn't, too vague. And then I would follow that, and then I would follow the next one. It was like a basically like a treasure hunt, but that's spent over years. And then eventually I landed on this idea that if you project a laser, something is supposed to happen. I didn't know what. I just knew that it's somehow involved. And then I tried it, and it worked, and it was just nuts. By the way, somebody on YouTube suggested something brilliant. I didn't think of this. So the that technique that I just told you with the water, she said, what if you do that, even if you can't, because if the water remembers whatever was there, any information, it's probably across the entire spectrum. So what if you do it through the dish, and then maybe when you freeze it, it might freeze some of the code. Worth a try. That would be wild.
Wow, that is a good idea.
That is a great idea. Thank you, MEF. Let's see what else we got here.
You might be the first person to bring the first artifact back.
Dude, that would be insane. I mean, if you nailed this one, this will be insane. This is like a historical moment. Have you seen beings other may interpreted fairies or elves? Yeah, I've never seen fairies or elves, but like I told you, that friend that I told you about, definitely, that's all she sees. She said. So Funkworm Mantis, I've seen many times. Like they are, as far as I can tell, they are insects. The ones that are weaving this reality, they're insects.
What about the jesters? Have you seen the jesters?
Yeah, there's one jester that is always there for me. He's kind of like a very central character, and he commands a lot of respect and attention. Like everybody kind of moves to the side when he appears. He's like very fast and very vain, very openly vain. He's like, look at me, I can do this. He just jumps around everywhere. And then but most of them are basically insects. That's what I can discern. And I've seen the praying mantis, I've seen queen bee, I've seen the big spider.
Yeah,
like it holds all the knowledge. Yeah, so they seem to be like, at least, just it looks very straightforward that they are multidimensional insects, basically the ones that are weaving this reality. Do you get complete sober? Yeah. So also, Cal, to a question about the 42. Yeah, 42 was actually the thing that appeared. So basically, my now fiance, we were in Colorado, and I was telling her about this stuff. Well, I told her about it before, but we were talking about it, and then we went to the botanical gardens. And in the botanical gardens, we started talking about how plants, the way they do photosynthesis. She knows a lot about plants, so we started talking about how they collect light and why they're green, and that's because green is the one wavelength the plant is not utilizing for energy, so it rejects it, it puts it out, and that's why it's green. And then we started talking about red plants, Why are they red? Well, the same reason, they reject red. Why do they reject red and not green? Like why they chose this, part of the evolution. So anyways, we were talking about this stuff, and it kept on if it kept feeling like we are like onto something, like it was this feeling, right? And then we step outside, we go, I was about to call an Uber, and it was extremely hot. It was like 110 degrees or something like that. So my fiance, she went and she crossed the street while I was calling the Uber, because there was a row of trees on the other side, so she could stand in the shade. So she crossed the street and stood out under the first tree. And I have a picture, because when I crossed the street, called the Uber across the street, and I came and I hugged her, and then I looked down and I say, "Dude, look down." And she's like, "What?" And she was standing on the number 42. It was written on the floor. She just literally, like a Department of Water and Power, when they were the exact same color, like the first hint that appeared for me on the floor for my first video. That's the exact same thing. I have this picture. It's crazy. So actually, 42 is definitely involved, and that's the day we figured out the laser, that we thought like what should be the case. Uh, we're seeing.
It's so wild. When you're playing like a role playing game and you're like, you got the main quest, you got the side quests, and if you get like too jumbled up, oh, I've got like 56 side quests. Let me put a marker on the map to where it kind of directs you in this huge like 500 square mile map, looking like go this direction. If you want to complete this quest, it's almost like in this part of the simulation, that's kind of like what directed you towards, you said, the more real than even the molecule real. It was like you have to complete this particular quest, and we're going to make it so easy for you because we're going to hand guide you to the direction you need to go in.
Yeah, I think because I was paying attention, they're like, okay, well, we'll put some hints to see if you can figure it out or something like that. But it's spent over years, and I keep listening to the space, trying to see what's the consensus on certain things, just to make sure that everything is still aligned. It's not always that clear, to be honest, because sometimes they disagree about things. So, somebody said on YouTube, I wonder if perform the double slit experiment if you'll see anything interesting. Well, the diffraction is essentially the double slit experiment. It's a form of it, right? It splits the light. It would be interesting though to see if we can see any change if we do a proper double slit with the photon detector and everything, and then turn on the photon detector, have it the wave function collapse, have the two bands, and then see if we can see any difference in what we see, like the code or something. I'm open to questions. Come on, universe.
Sometimes that's all you have to do is just ask. Knock and the door shall be open.
Yeah.
Seek and ye shall find.
And you shall find. But yeah, I'm all for the. Oh wait, there's another. I'm all for to do the double slit experiment, and actually, like I said, I'm also planning to do the experiment with the magnets. Vada tells about her partner exposing water to the word Aya. I can't say the full thing on TikTok. Then freezing it, then eating the ice and feeling subtle effects of the medicine. Whoa! Without any of the actual plant, just that is crazy. I wonder if some of it. I mean, even if that is still the case, but like, I guess you can check it to what is it called? Why is my brain like freezing today? It's crazy. What's the word I'm looking for? Crazy. My brain is placebo. Thank you. My brain is like, I'm gone today. But even if it is placebo, still you have to kind of explain how that happens. Like the brain. I wonder if it's from the water or from the person being convinced. But that is a very interesting story. To anybody who missed it, basically, somebody did the experiment with the water and they just put the word Aya, like the full word, under. And then do you say they drank the water or eating the ice? And then they felt the effect of the medicine. That would be interesting. Yeah, I should probably do the experiment properly with the actual petri dish, because I only did it with a mason jar. And if anybody else wants to try it, again, it's super easy to do. You just fill out the petri dish, put it on some kind of an image. It can be anything. and then you put it in the freezer after like 2 minutes. You can probably look up online how long you're supposed to leave it on the image. Chop chop.
That phrase is so interesting. What if it's a placebo? Like the placebo effect, just that alone, isn't it almost like at 50% or more than 50%, somewhere around there? Maybe it's like 43% effective.
No, it's like it's like 18 to 33 on average.
Okay, 18 to 33% on average.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but still, that's a lot.
Right. Hey, take this sugar pill and it'll cure your disease.
Exactly. It actually does it. It does get to higher percentages of success if the intervention is more aggressive. So they did this study with the particular heart condition where they opened people up and they just saw them back up. So they didn't do any operation, but just because it was a procedure, like a very serious procedure, the success rate of placebo in the cases in which they didn't do anything went up to like 52%, which is crazy. So the more convinced you are, essentially, the more effective it would be. So it shows you that it's just a matter of your brain being fully convinced of it. Now I wonder what the line is, because there has to be some kind of a line, right? I wonder if the line doesn't even exist for things like breaking the laws of physics. I don't know, like flying or things like that. But I mean, how are you going to test that?
So it's like the stronger you're convinced, the longer you're convinced, the more that you like shape your own reality. And it's like when you're in the molecule space, it seems like so much of it is like instant thought manifested reality, to where here we have a thought about something, but if we don't hold on to that thought, it might not manifest. So it's like holding on to a thought as strong as you can, as long as you can, is what like creates your reality.
That actually makes perfect sense. The only question is, why doesn't it change more often for people when they're convinced? Let me see. Dr. Octavia. Oh, I'm just looking at what Funkworm said. Dr. Octavia Redding. No, I haven't looked too deeply into it. You want to remind me why he or she is significant? I don't have a laser, so wondering if you know symbols are visible on recording or not. You mean like if you record a video? I'm fully convinced code exists, but haven't seen it clearly yet. Yeah. Well, actually, it does. It's a good question. Yeah, it does. Well, at least it appears that it does. Like if you take an image of it, you can still see it in the picture. I haven't tried it with a video. I should probably do it with a video to see if there's any difference. And the laser, by the way, you can just get like if you go to the website codeofreality.com, you have a list there of the things that you can order on Amazon or Alibaba. We also make like a version of it, but if you're trying to save money, just get what they have on Alibaba and Amazon. It's very straightforward, very easy to make. Just make sure it's never above 5 milliwatts. Everything else doesn't really matter as long as it's diffracted and under 5 milliwatts and not more than that. I took a video to personally test seeing it later. Yeah, it definitely works in an image. I've seen that, which is interesting. It's almost like it has to be doing what it's doing whenever somebody's looking at it. When I walked into the vicinity of a group of people. Wait, I have felt the effects of Aya when I walked into the vicinity of a group of people who drank the medicine here in Ecuador. I was helping the shaman, but I didn't take the medicine. It was trippy. Yeah, I'm very convinced that people, especially people who are sensitive to to energy, they can probably feel whatever is the dominant energy in the room. Can you have all the participants copy the code? If it's like real code, there'll be standardized syntax that become apparent. Yeah, I wish it would be that simple. You have somebody's asking if I had people write the code. It's not like it's just stationary. It's moving all the time, and there's millions of characters at any given moment, and they're moving fast. So it's not like it's drowned in the amount of information. You can't really transcribe it, but you can see clearly that there's like it's a real thing. You just don't know how to. It's too fast for you to be able to grab. I did have a couple of artists who recreated it, but not like they're just like a general concept, not like the exact same thing. I always say that you're gonna have to have some kind of advanced Neuralink recording directly from your cortex to be able to actually run any statistical analysis on it. You should print and write with a pen, outline the code. And yeah, you can't do that, man.
Yeah, is any graphical design artist going to be able to, like, without the Neuralink, capture it? I've been thinking about that for like the past 15 years. I'm like, I go to my computer graphic friends. I'm like, all right, here's what I'm trying to describe. And it's like, without without a graphic designer personally going to the space to even get a grasp of what you're talking about, it's just like what you're saying. As soon as you start describing it, it's already been 10 other things since that moment.
Right. Well, it's also, don't forget that because you're on the molecule, it also does something to the, like, to the translation machinery. Like, it's kind of difficult to grab something and put it out there. Like, if when you're too high, right, on something or whatever it is, even if it's just the green stuff. Again, I don't know how much we can say on TikTok. TikTok is so weird. But even if the simplest thing, like, you have all these interesting ideas, but you can't really phrase them, right? It's almost like you can't take it from the inside and put it on the outside. And that you have some of that going on. But honestly, I think that even if you will be in the same state you are when you're completely coherent, there's no way. There's just too much of it. It's moving way too fast. It's like, it's tiny. It's moving really, really fast. I mean, it's distinguish. It's clear that it's a thing, right? You can see it, but it's I always say it's like if you have like severe dyslexia, like you see it as letters, you see it, but you can't grab it. You can't grab it. You can't like write it down.
But when you're in that space, you're like, oh, I'll never forget this. Oh, this is like burned in my memory. Like, oh, I'm so glad I finally got all this knowledge. And then like 30 seconds later, you're like, hold up, what? Hold on. What was that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not even that. It's like in real time. You see it. You can't believe what you're seeing, but you can't move it out. And again, it's just a matter of like there's so much information all at once. Your brain can't cope with all of that.
That's what it is. Our human mind just can't hold on. It's like an overflowing bucket of water. Like there's no way to keep it all in the bucket.
Even what you see in the Matrix, that simple graphic of like the numbers kind of like dropping, right? They're dropping relatively slow, but can you like, without freezing frame, can you like grab the things before they replace? Like it's hard, right? Even in that, and it's moving way faster than that, and there's way more of them. So that's why. Right in 3D. Well, I mean, you can, if you could grab a snapshot of it, like somebody with like a true photographic memory, they'll probably be able to like grab a snippet of something, right? The problem is also that they're overlaid on top of each other because it goes into infinity, and they're kind of like running on top of each other. So it makes it even harder because it also kind of like scatters your attention basically.
Oh, wow, you're so right. It's like, how do we even portray like a fifth, sixth dimensional experience while we're in 3D? That's the other leap.
So I have a friend who's he does these enormous like art installations, and they're designed it's like an ocular system that's designed to create the most unique 3D experience possible. So it's not like a 3D movie. It really feels like you're there, like inside, right? And his work was even mentioned on Joe Rogan. Like he does these like big installations in LA, and he's really good with like translating these concepts into the thing. And he built something that actually looks a lot like the code, and is going to do it in his next iteration of what he does. So when it's out, I'm going to let you guys know if anybody's in LA and wants to go check it out. He definitely did a really good job at like at least showing me what the initial idea is, and now he's just going to basically translate the actual movement of the code into something that is tangible, like bends around the actual code, revealing it.
Awesome.
So yeah, no, so it's not like it's around the code. It's literally revealing the code. So it's like a flashlight. It's just bouncing off the code into your eye, and that's how you see the code. Almost like a shockwave. Yeah, no, just like light reveals anything. Right now, the way you see me, the way I see you, is that light bounces off objects, gets back to your eye, and that's how you see something. Thanks. How much do you
wait? I saw you liked that video on my page, Danny, of when I was in London.
Yeah.
That display. So once we get your code in a graphical form, I'll do what I can to submit you as one of the artists to get displayed on that, because I think it's every like 15 minutes they do a new artist submission in that space.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be cool to show like millions of people in London the code for a day or something.
Yeah, somebody told me like if you do like a big Burning Man installation where you project the laser and then people can just come, because they're already on something. Wait, I see this question. How much do you need? Enough till fractals appear? Yeah, it's a great question. There's two main ways. If you go to codeofreality.com, you have everything there, including the protocol. We have a full protocol. It tells you like you should do it during the day. There's a whole prep that you got to do, and it gives you the two main ways to do it. You eat a lunch, and then when you get back, if you feel cold, you can go and sit in front of the door, or you go slow. You just puff, wait for like 4 minutes, take another puff, wait 4 minutes, and then slowly you get there. But everything is in the protocol, so you can see it in codeofreality.com. I would go to see that. The artist's name is you can look him up on Instagram. I think on Instagram is Orb Seer. So Orb Seer. I think it's Seer. But if you just do Orb SE, you will find it. What display?
The one I was talking about in London.
Oh yeah. Perfect. Yeah. How long ago were you there, by the way?
That was in January. I'm actually going back next month.
Do you just go there to visit family, or just?
Yeah. I've got family there, and pester the people at Imperial College to let me in on the studies.
Yeah, that's a long list. I suppose. Yeah,
Every time they're like, "All right, we see your submission. We'll let you know. We'll call you. Don't call us."
I'm trying to weasel my way into the one in San Diego. Because they're starting that one next year as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's originally it's funny because they started the one in Colorado, but then they basically just like haven't done anything in Colorado since the beginning. I don't know what. I think it's Daniel McQueen in Colorado, and I don't know why I mean, they're more focused on like the healing part of it, because it's like a therapy center and healing and all that stuff, which is great. It's beautiful, but the project is not really about that. The project is about the ontological question. And I remember I submitted my stuff to that one originally after I made a discovery. I was like, okay, well, this is one way to get into the whole thing. And yeah, it seems like they still haven't done even one experiment with that thing.
Yeah, it's wild. Either they haven't done any, or it's like almost like how AI is progressing right now. That every like head of any AI project, they get to a certain point where like, all right, we got to stop like right here. We should not go any further than this. Almost like how Elon's warning people, like if we don't have some kind of safeguards in place, like how much we've progressed just to this point is too much without having like major safeguards.
Understanding. Yeah, well, no, I'm pretty sure that that's not the case in Colorado. Like they don't really know. They never done any experiments. It's not like a big secret. I know because I asked the guy who's funding it, Anton, and he was like, I don't really know what they're doing in Colorado. But the Imperial College, they're making some strides. I also know that Gallimore is building something big. So we'll see. So we'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah. I think I was speaking to you about that last time I jumped on your live about the podcast I saw where he's building some kind of retreat in the Caribbean.
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, that's one to definitely be in. That'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm on all the lists.
You are on all the lists.
That's the list you want to be on.
It's really funny. How old were you when you got into this stuff?
Let's see. So I was 25.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's actually a responsible age.
Yeah, it was actually it's like a week. Well, no, it was 24 hours after I graduated college. My friend said, "Hey, I got a college graduation gift for you," and he
Whoa.
took me to this shaman, or as much as a shaman could be in Tennessee.
The Tennessee Shaman sounds like a name of a movie, honestly.
Boy, well, once you get into all this filmmaking, that can be like a sequel or a prequel, I guess.
My fiance always says you should create some social media thing with the handle the Laser Shaman.
Yeah, man. I mean, I see on your page you got like millions of views for that. So, I mean, that's another question I had. Like, how, like, you said you're making a film right now.
Yeah.
Are other people reaching out to you wanting to like collaborate or like?
Well, the film
or anything like that.
Collaborate on what? What do you mean?
Just like the film like process.
Well, the film is taking like, you know, there's a central narrative, so like we're just following kind of like reconstructing what the process was, and then we have a bunch of interviews lined up. Plus, I'm gonna be filming some, you know, the action stuff, and then we'll basically put it in the film. Aaron Vanden, who's the director, is just mind-blowingly talented. You can watch the teaser on the yesterday I shared the GoFundMe page, and there's the teaser there. I'll just share it with you. I don't know if you saw it, but we are basically almost done with the first maybe 10 minutes of the film. It's going to be like a 90-minute film. So as far as collaboration, I'm not really sure what would be the collaboration. It's just like, you know, we'll be interviewing people. But people email me all the time about, you know, we should do this, we should do that. And it's mostly just ideas for experiments, which I have a million of them. It's just a matter of time, budget, and all that stuff. And part of the film is also doing some new experiments, which will definitely be in the film.
Exactly. All the knowledge, all the ideas, time and money.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, yeah, you have to, like, I do everything I can when I have time. But you know, in the end of the day, you have to like, if I make it into like a full-time job, that's another thing. But even then, eventually it's going to have to be run through the, you know, scientific machine. Like you have to put it into like a double blind. You have to have reputable names attached to it, all that stuff. So either way, you're going to have to eventually land there. Otherwise, you don't really gain credence that easy, unless you make something crazy happen. Like if you make, you know, something levitate, okay, then you just go directly to Elon Musk. You know, here you go, Elon. We made this thing float. that would be an interesting day. I have, yeah, like I said in the beginning, this one is going to be super short today. In about 2-3 minutes, I'm going to have to bounce. If you guys have any like last second questions, I can answer them. But if not, tomorrow we'll do like a proper live. Today was relatively short. It seems like no. So actually, one thing that if anybody in the chat wants to try this, it would be cool if you guys try it either by tomorrow or by next week, which is the Petri dish experiment. I have reasons to believe that it actually works, and if it does, it's wild. I thought Elon got rich by executing hostile takeovers. Yeah, definitely not. It's really funny to me that, you know, Elon gets so much shit. I mean, yeah, he's very rough on his employees. There's no question about that, and people get burned out very quickly. But there's no question that Elon got to where he was with a lot of hard work and taking risks that nobody in this world took on, you know, on a regular basis. I honestly see him as one of the most honest players in that space. Not nice players, but honest players. There's a big difference there. What was the? Oh, so the petri dish. I'm going to repeat it for people. You take a petri dish, put a little bit of water. You can probably look online the experiment. Very straightforward. You put it on some kind of an image, and wait maybe 2 minutes or something, and then you put it in the freezer. Try not to move it too much, and then you, I think, half freeze it, kind of. and then you should see, if it works, you should see like an outline of whatever image you put on when the water started freezing. I want to see if this works. We can run.
Put like different words wrapped
Yeah,
around
so
it,
it's
change the structure of each one of them.
Yeah, basically very similar to that. So apparently water has, some kind of a thing like
Memory.
water. Yeah, well, I don't know if memory is the right word, but water has like very interesting properties. So anybody who wants to try this and share, that would be great. What's up, Muse? Actually, unfortunately, today I'm going to be bouncing in about like a few seconds, but thank you for the good vibes, and I'm sending the good vibes back. Are you going to be here tomorrow, the business?
Oh, I'm here every time you go live, bro.
The what? Oh, amazing, dude! I'm honored.
Doing, man. But hold on, Danny's live. Y'all gotta wait.
I'm honored, man. This is gonna be. I pledge to stream every day for the next year, aside from when I go to like retreats and things like that. But yeah, it would be fun, and I definitely want to start doing more. If people want particular guests or particular subjects that people want to dive into. So, do you have any suggestions as to what can be an interesting subject for me to research for tomorrow?
Oh man.
Oh yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot. You can always think about it and text me.
No, I mean everything we've been talking about today, just really expanding on that.
What specifically? Elon Musk?
Maybe further, like on the Time Wave Zero stuff. If someone.
Oh, Time Wave Zero can be interesting. Yeah, I'll go a little deeper into that. I'm going to look into the details because I know that people gave Terrence a lot of flock. Thank you, Amif. I appreciate it. The idea with the code is brilliant. I really want to try the ice in the code, and maybe we can do like just a few days. We can even touch on some contentious and then some subjects that are a little bit more charged. Maybe, I don't know. I guess Elon Musk is one of them. Maybe, I don't really know why. It never is clear to me. I have a friend who's like a really smart, like one of the smartest people I know, and he hates Elon. And I'm like, dude, what? I don't understand. Like it's like I never get that. It's like and whenever he says that, I'm like, because I'm always still open, right? It's not like I'm really like, I never stand my ground too much, right? Because I don't know, right? So I'm always open. If somebody else tells me something, to kind of like, okay, so every time I watch him talk, so the last thing I saw him talk was on Lex, right? And every time I watch him, and I'm like, okay, let me see. Maybe there's something I'm missing here, right? And I'm kind of watching him talk, trying to look for that kink. I'm trying to look for that thing of something. And I know enough about him. Like I read his two biographies, and like I'm actually following like the whole, like, it's really interesting what he's doing, right? It's kind of just fascinating as a person. And every time I watch him talk, just as a person, just talking to somebody else, I can't find a fake bone in his body. Like, I'm sure he can be a dick to his employees, and that's very outlined in his biographies very well. When people just like literally burn out after like I don't know how long because he's so tough on people, and yells at them and all that stuff. But I'm like, okay, well, don't work for him. Don't work for him then. Like, it's like, compare that with what is like, and then people say, yeah, it's because he has all the money. I'm like, no, he has the money because he does all the innovation and takes all the risks. That's how he has the money. He wasn't born with the money. And also, the smartest people on the planet don't go and work for just some kind of a Yahoo. You know what I mean? So then, but anyways, it truly is not even in the sense of like, not to kind of like build this image of Elon. I'm expressing my confusion about what is it that people see that makes them like go bunkers about it. Like, I don't understand this part. I was like, we all have, some people are just assholes for no reason. My fiance always says, what I mean? For no reason. They're just assholes. So even if you believe he's an asshole, but with everything that he's doing, I'm like, okay, well, I feel like that's net positive for humanity still, it feels to me.
Well, anyway, think about it. If you're working for him, I mean, he's going 1,000 miles an hour. You're going 200. To even keep up with his work ethic, of course he's going to come down on you because he wants everybody to catch up to where he's at.
Yeah, Do more harm than normal car. Yeah. So here's another criticism, for example, except for glorifying lithium batteries. So I guess here's my overarching. We'll do a whole, maybe not a whole episode, but we'll definitely talk about Elon more maybe tomorrow, because I definitely got to bounce. But the last thing I'm going to say about that all of these separate criticisms of Elon's, hyping things, like for example the glorifying lithium batteries, which would do more harm than normal cars, or things like he never delivers on time, or all kind, whatever you want to say, or he's a dick to people. And by the way, to be fair, it's not like he's just because he's not just harsh on his employees. He can be like very he is what Isaacson calls in the book demon mode, where he goes into like a very dark place, and he is very unfair to people, like people that spent work 20 years for him, and he's just like, bye, like you things that on the surface of it you would say, yeah, like that's not the best behavior, let's just say that, right? But he's aware of that. He knows there's like something wrong with him in that sense, where he's just like a demon mode, right? But it's also, it allows him to accomplish. But what I would say about all these separate comments about the, like for example the thing about the lithium batteries right now, notice that what's implied in that statement is that he must be doing that because he just wants to hype the product to make profit. That's all he cares about. I can tell you that from my assessment of who Elon Musk is, the last thing he cares about as a main goal is profit. He does not care about profit whatsoever. He cares about these things working. So in the context of that, he would hype certain things to make them sell so they can make better things. I My impression is that he truly cares about what happens. It's not about his companies just being good for just making profit, but actually making products that are good for humanity. That's his drive, as far as I can tell it. So I'm pretty sure that if all of that stuff would be true, as far as like if the trajectory of these batteries would be unsustainable over time. So I don't know the truth about the specifics. It might be true that at the moment, uh, extracting all lithium from the ground and all that stuff is actually doing more harm than good. It might be the case. I don't know enough about it, so I don't want to say. But I'm pretty sure that if Elon would know that the trajectory of that over time will not hold, he wouldn't be doing it. That's my contention. He wouldn't be doing it. So it might be that right now there's like a middle step where a lot of this stuff is still kind of like in this uncanny valley, but he only cares about things that would work over time for humanity. That's my impression of the whole thing. Um, for sure, he cares more about profit than what happens to the earth. For sure, yeah. That I would say that is absolutely not true. I don't know if you actually read any of the stuff about him, but like Isaacson is like is a known um, writer who writes about the biggest people in history. So he wrote the biography about Einstein. He wrote the one about Jobs, and he wrote the latest one about Elon. The thing about Isaacson is, first of all, he has a reputation. So like his integrity is everything, and he doesn't hold back. Like he doesn't portray Elon in a nice way when it doesn't fit the bill. Like he writes everything, including all the not such great things about him. So I would, if especially if you have a lot of criticism about Elon, but you never read anything in depth about his life and what actually drives him, I highly recommend it. If anything else, it's a fascinating story because, I mean, like it or not, he's a remarkable person. And people confuse that with just like idolizing him. It's not about idolizing him. Yeah, he's doing things that we've never seen any human does before, like altogether. Anyways, but we'll do like a more like a deeper Elon dive maybe tomorrow or the next day. Thank you everybody for joining. Love everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow, business.
See you soon.
See you guys. Peace and love. Bye, YouTube.